Join us this week as we descend into the darker side of human nature and uncover the shadows that dwell in the unknown. From chilling true crime and gruesome murders to spine-tingling paranormal encounters that defy explanation, we're peeling back the curtain on things that go bump in the night. So grab a flashlight and maybe a blanket, because you're listening to The Guilty and the Ghostly.
Welcome back, my precious.
My precious.
I'm leaving that in. We're back, guys. This time on Monday.
On Monday, not Thursday.
But it's actually Sunday.
Got him.
What is this time warp that we are in? How'd you guys like the mini-sode?
We hope y'all enjoyed it, because I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
It is very interesting, and with that mini-sode, a lot of that is going to go into this story.
Yes.
So,
we don't really have a whole lot of business. I think we covered a lot of it on the podcast or with Josh's episode. Yeah, so we've just recorded 3 episodes, actually more than that, because we did some experimenting with other episodes, but it didn't work. We had a special guest, AD, but the audio was so bad, which sucks because it was such a good episode. We're going to bring AD back and get the audio fixed.
Yeah, for sure. Because it was a really good episode, and the reason why I already know about the story is because we've tried to film it about 3 times.
No, this is only the second time on this one. We recorded it once.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't record the audio again. We're trying different things with the equipment. We wanted to try more microphones and stuff, and so we're just trying to find different ways, and it just didn't work. So, and we're not doing video again because, like we said on Thursday,
it didn't match with the audio. It was glitchy.
Oh, the old one, yeah. But I'm talking about we're not doing video on this one today because we were up super late last night and didn't get any sleep, and we'd be looking a little rough.
Yeah. So we're basically like the mini-sode that y'all saw on Thursday or listened to on Thursday.
We literally just recorded it.
We're just doing some catch up, you know.
Trying to get ahead so that we can work on stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with that, we'll just go ahead and dive right in.
It's a longer episode, so
this one's shorter. Josh's was longer. This one.
Gosh, Josh's was so long.
I know, and we kept getting sidetracked on different
things.
Yeah,
literally.
But we got some ideas for other episodes too, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we are going to talk about The Unknown Woman of the Seine River from Tamara's Calling. I'll call you back, Tamara.
Oh no.
So I'm going to have to restructure this a little bit because when I first told you, you had no idea about any of it.
Yeah. Now I know.
Now she knows, so it would just be weird if I was if I said it the same way. But this story is very fascinating. It's very haunting. There is a little bit of true crime, but kind of like with the Paris episode, it has a touch, or Paris Morgue episode, it has a touch of true crime, but it was really just the morbidity. Is that a word?
The morbid aspect of it.
There we go. That's probably better. It was just
morbidity.
No. But I wish they taught us this stuff in high school. We talked about that before. If they would have taught us some of this other stuff, actual true dark history, I would have been all in.
Yeah. All in. I would have paid more attention.
Yeah, because I did not know about this story. So I showed you the picture of the girl that we had talked about in the last episode. She is the pictures of a serene young woman, her lips curved in the faintest of smiles. And I had asked you if she looked familiar. And you were like, yeah, kinda, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was unsure.
But she has since been called many things over the years, like the Mona Lisa of the Seine, the Unknown Woman, or the most kissed girl in the world. And you will see why soon. So her face inspired writers, painters, and sculptors. It inspired a song by Michael Jackson, and most surprisingly, it became the face that helped save millions of lives across the globe. But who was she? What happened to her? And how did a tragic death in Paris end up changing the future of modern medicine? So let's start. We're going to go back to Paris again, late 1800s.
Okay.
We're back at the Paris morgue.
Oh gosh.
Here we go. You thought we were done.
And I don't know if y'all probably didn't see because we're not doing video, but this episode has really messed me up.
Yeah. When I first told her this story, she was so caught up on the Paris morgue part of it that I couldn't even get to the rest of the story. So I was like, all right, we're going to put a pin in that. We're doing a mini-sode on that because it's just way too cool.
Because it's very, disturbing.
Yeah.
It's not the most disturbing case, but it's very,
it just makes you wonder, what?
It's just weird how many people were participating.
Yeah. 40,000 people. Wild. So we're back at the morgue, Paris, 19th century. It was a city of elegance and beauty, but also of overcrowding, disease, and crime. The Seine River cut through the heart of the city, carrying barges, goods, and sadly, bodies. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Not the bodies.
Accidental drownings, murders, and suicides were common. When bodies were pulled from the water and couldn't be identified, they were sent to the Paris morgue located near Notre Dame. Now, here's where things get particularly morbid. Beginning in 1864, the morgue opened its doors to the public, and it wasn't just for grieving families searching for missing relatives, it also became a tourist attraction. So I'm just going to give another kind of brief history of the morgue, but if you want more details, go listen to the mini-sode from last week if you haven't already.
Yes.
The bodies of unidentified were laid out on black marble slabs, clothed with only a loincloth and tilted slightly so passerbys could see their faces. Cold water dripped continuously to preserve them, and behind glass walls, row after row, they were displayed for anyone to look at. And people did look in droves. At its peak, the Paris morgue drew 40,000 visitors in a single day.
Disgusting.
Tens of thousands, men, women, and children filing past corpses as a form of entertainment. Newspapers published lurid details of the most mysterious and gruesome deaths, drawing even bigger crowds. Critics eventually condemned this morbid theater as an exploitative, accusing the city of turning tragedy into a cheap spectacle. In 1907, the displays were finally banned, but during its run, countless faces were seen by countless eyes. And one of those faces would become famous for eternity. Dun, dun, dun. So, who was she? The unknown woman of the Seine. Sometime in the late 1880s, the body of a young woman was pulled from the Seine. Her cause of death was uncertain. Was it suicide, an accident, murder? Nobody knew. But one morgue pathologist was absolutely captivated. He thought her face was so beautiful, so serene, that it deserved preservation. Which she is a very pretty girl. Like the pictures, again, I'll post them on social media, but she just looks so peaceful.
Yeah.
And so instead of leaving her to be buried nameless and forgotten, he commissioned a death mask. Death masks were common in the era before photography was, and it was a lot more affordable for people at the time. Families often had masks made of their loved ones as keepsakes, and police used them to help identify unknown corpses, almost like a grim missing persons database. The process was delicate. Plaster was carefully spread over her entire face, capturing every detail before decomposition set in. Which in doing the research, I read that they had to do it like literally within hours of finding these bodies because decomp would already start setting in, and they had to do it before it would start. So very quickly, they had to create a plaster of these people's faces.
That's really creepy.
From that mold, copies could be made. They would use wax, plaster, or bronze to create these masks. When the mask of this woman was complete, it revealed a teenager, perhaps 16, 17 at most, smooth skin, soft rounded cheeks, and her hair parted neatly. Her long eyelashes almost still looked damp from being in the river. But what captivated people most was her expression. She had the faintest, mysterious smile, half peaceful, half sad, a smile that seemed to whisper secrets. Well, the Moore pathologist, he displayed the mask in his office, and visitors were like completely entranced with this mask. And soon, artists and intellectuals, they wanted copies of it. Like, they were like, I want that mask. Which
See,
is
that's so creepy.
so weird.
Like, hey, I want that mask of that dead girl on your wall.
Yeah, and which they used to do, which I can understand this a little bit more. They, like I think I already mentioned, they would do it for their families. If they would lose a loved one, they would create a death mask, which kind of makes sense because you want to keep the memory of your loved one.
But why not already have like a sketch made of them? If you love this person that much, you know what I mean?
What are you going to do with a loose piece of paper? Especially in the 1800s, it'll just get lost or damaged, or at least the mask would preserve longer.
But it's just the fact that they're pouring this plaster over these already deceased faces.
That's kind of like the pictures too that they used to take of people when they died, because they wouldn't have very many pictures of the family. So a lot of times the only pictures they took was of the family with the dead person. So weird. Things are weird. The face spread from one studio to another until it became a symbol of beauty, tragedy, and mystery. Rumors soon began to swirl. Some claimed that she is a Hungarian singer, others an Argentinian dancer, maybe a Russian runaway, or a British orphan. So, like, they were just grasping at straws. They were just, like, making up stories about her.
Anything and everything?
Yes. And each story gave her a tragic ending, about abandonment, betrayal, blackmail, suicide. Like, they were just making their own story about her. And later she would become known as the Mona Lisa of the Seine, or a new Ophelia, and also a muse. But her story didn't end in the 19th century. It was only the beginning. So let's fast forward. That was in the early 1800s. We're going to fast forward to 1930s, to Europe. And Europe was basically on the edge of chaos. In Austria, a Jewish medical student named Peter Safar was fighting to survive. Safar narrowly escaped Nazi persecution when a sympathetic clerk altered his papers, and basically he disguised his ancestry. So he didn't want to be known as that he was Jewish, because this was when Hitler was going on and all of that. He did not want to be known to be Jewish. But this change meant he was drafted into Hitler Youth. So they hid it so well that they actually were trying to recruit him for this Hitler Youth that they had. Well, he eventually faked an illness. So what he figured out, he was a pre-med student, and what he figured out is that they used this ointment to test for tuberculosis. And what he realized is it would give you a really bad rash if you used it. It was so bad, the reaction to it, that it could even be fatal. So he knew that that the Nazis and all of them were obsessed with purity and cleanliness and everything. So he took this ointment and covered his entire body in it to create a rash, so that they would be like, you're not good enough. You're gone. We're kicking you out. So he did that and it worked. He was covered in a rash and they ended up releasing him from the Hitler Youth. Well, he survived the war and he eventually made his way to the United States. And he began training as an anesthesiologist at Johns Hopkins University. Safar became fascinated with one big question. How do we save lives when someone's breathing or heart suddenly stops? Which that is so common now. I mean, everybody knows how to do that now. A lot of people are certified and,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think they didn't have that access back then. At the time, there was no standard practice. Many patients died simply because no one knew what to do. So far, he decided to start experimenting dangerously.
Oh, gosh.
He would find these volunteers and he would basically put them under. And he would use this, I can't remember. I think it's called Curare or Curare. And what it was it was a deadly poison that the Amazon used to use on their hunting arrows to kill their prey. And so he would inject that into these volunteers.
Of course he would.
And it would shut your diaphragm down so that you would quit breathing.
Of course it did.
This also messed with Tory.
Because it just so, did they know what they were signing up for?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering is he was like, hey, I've got this poison. I'm going to inject it into you and you're going to quit breathing. But it's okay. I'm trying to figure out how to make you start breathing again. So you'll be okay. Maybe, maybe not. I wonder if he lost anybody. How many did he lose? How many were not successful?
Who were the people who helped him?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, through these risky trials, he did discover the foundation of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Tilt the head back, lift the jaw, breathe into their lungs. And then he eventually learned that if you did chest compressions, the success rate was higher. And so this basically became what we know now as CPR.
Wow.
Wow.
And we talked about this the other day. We tried to do this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, it's so cool how he literally went through all of this.
Yeah.
And now he was the creator of CPR.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And that's not all that he did. We'll get to what else he did here in a little bit, too.
Yeah.
His life story was just so interesting. So Safar's work laid the foundation of modern emergency medicine, but doctors needed a way to practice these techniques safely. And so he basically would go to these conferences and be like, hey, I figured out how to bring these people back after they quit breathing. But here's the downfall. I think it was 30% of them would suffer from broken ribs and a broken sternum.
Yeah.
So the doctors are like, tap the brakes. You are not fixing to practice this on me. Hell no. They're like, it's a great idea in theory, but how do we practice it without seriously hurting somebody? And so far, he's like, okay, what do I do? So at this point, he's going back to the drawing board. And that's where our unknown woman comes back in from the Seine River. He met somebody at one of these conferences he was having to explain about CPR. And they were like, hey, my man over here, I think you pronounce it Osmund Laredal. He's a Norwegian toy maker who worked with plastics. And so Safar is like, my man, come help me. Come create a life-size mannequin for CPR training. And Laerdal was especially motivated because his young son had nearly drowned in a backyard pool. And he had barely managed to save him. So one day, Laerdal was looking for his son. He went outside and his son was face down in the pool. He pulls him out. He's like squeezing him, shaking him, trying to wake him up. By the grace of God, he was able to get enough water out of his lungs that the boy survived. And so Laerdal's like, if I would have had access to CPR, maybe, I could have saved him faster, or if I couldn't have saved him, if I would have had CPR, then I could. So he's like, I'm all in. This sounds like a great idea. So Laerdal agreed, but he did face a challenge. What should the mannequin's face look like? He wanted it to be lifelike enough to be feel real, but not grotesque. And so he considered using a male's face, but he also worried, especially since it's in the 1950s, would men feel comfortable practicing on another man's face, even though it is just a doll? Like they were
toxic masculinity.
Yeah, exactly. But then he remembered a mask that was hanging in his family's home. It was a face they'd owned for years. It was the serene face of the unknown woman in the Seine River. And just like that, she became the face of Rescue Annie, the CPR training mannequin.
Wow. I bet y'all didn't know that.
Surprise! Well, since 1959, millions of people have learned CPR by practicing on her. And doctors, nurses, paramedics, lifeguards, school children, parents, her face has basically been used by millions of people, and it literally made her the most kissed woman in the world. And the legacy didn't stop there. CPR training included asking the mannequin, Annie, are you okay? And that phrase stuck, and decades later, Michael Jackson used it as the hook in his hit song, Smooth Criminal.
Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
So even in pop culture, the unknown woman lives on, which is wild. Completely wild.
That is really wild. But the story doesn't end yet.
We're not done yet. We still have a little bit more to go.
The show must be going on.
The show must go on. So Peter Safar, despite the revolutionizing medicine, faced personal tragedy. In 1966, his 11-year-old daughter died from an asthma attack. Safar wasn't home when it happened, and for a long time, he blamed himself. That is heartbreaking.
That's so sad.
Absolutely heartbreaking. But then he realized, if others had been trained in CPR, maybe she could have been saved. And that belief drove him to push CPR training for everyone, not just doctors. So he started to tour and started teaching it. He published it, and he basically fought for the idea that anyone could save a life. So today, CPR has saved millions, and Safar was actually nominated for the Nobel Prize 3 times.
Period.
He didn't win. Out of all those 3 times that he was nominated for it, he never won it. He also went on to create the very first intensive care unit. Meanwhile, Liddell passed his company to his son, which I loved his son's name. His son's name was Tor, and I don't know why, but I love that name. The same boy he once pulled lifeless.
It's close to my name.
Ew, never mind. I don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. The same boy that was once pulled lifeless from the pool. And the young woman from Paris, she remained nameless, but her face became immortal. And which I did look, and they never did find out what happened to her. They were never able to figure out, what her last moments were, or, what actually happened. They scoured police evidence and everything, and they were never able to confirm what happened to her.
That's crazy.
And to think that she drowned and then became basically the face of CPR. That's crazy. So think about it for a moment. A young woman, likely a teenager, died alone in the 1880s. Her body was put on display in a morgue window like so many others. No family claimed her, and no one knew her story. And yet her death mask traveled across decades and continents. She inspired artists. She became the face of the world's most famous medical training tool, and she has helped save countless lives. She's a tragedy and hope, beauty and science, death and life, all captured in plaster. So, who was she really? Was she a runaway, a lover betrayed, or just another forgotten girl lost to the river? We may never know. But the next time you hear the phrase, Annie, are you okay? Or see someone performing CPR, you'll know the answer. She may be unknown, but her legacy lives on. From the CN to hospitals around the globe, the unknown woman is proof that sometimes the greatest legends don't come from the lives we lived, but the mysteries we leave behind. So yeah, that's where the face of the CPR dummy came from. Was a girl that drowned in the 1800s and then spent a little time in the Paris morgue. It's just Safar's story is very interesting. I need to look and see if he ever wrote a book because it would be interesting to read that book because he went through so much.
He did.
And to come out and, like I said, invent CPR and the first ICU unit and survive Hitler and it's just crazy.
Everything in between.
Yeah. You would never think. And you'll never think of Smooth Criminal the same either.
And the thing is, I am CPR certified. And I've never known this.
I am too. In fact, I think we have to do our training again I can't remember, it's this year or next year. We do it. And to think that he, like you said, found these volunteers that were like, yeah, you can put me under. Yeah, you can give me a poison to make me stop breathing and see if you can bring me back from the dead.
I don't think he told them the whole
cool,
story.
Cool.
Sorry, but I just don't.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, do you want to help be the face of future medicine?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just sign this paper. I'm gonna inject poison with you. In you.
Oh, don't mind this. It'll just make you quit breathing.
It's just a shot. It'll be okay.
It's just wild. But I mean, how else do you figure it out? I think it's funny the doctors were like, you are not doing that to me. Go back to the drawing board. Figure something else out.
It also makes me think, if the doctors were not letting them do that to them, which would only result in breaking their ribs or sternum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doctors are supposed to be, eager to help people. Wouldn't the doctors volunteer?
No, they don't want no broken ribs.
But the patients, the regular, ordinary people volunteered to have poison injected.
I wonder if he paid them. Because, there was a lot of poor people back then. I wonder if he was like, hey, I'll slip you this $10.
Yeah. Probably.
To do this.
Probably not even 10, probably 25 cents, girl.
Yeah. And later he did say, when he was talking about it in the process, he said, I know it was risky and it would never be approved nowadays the way I went about it, but I did it.
I did it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting, girl.
It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Disturbing, but interesting.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I guess that's it. That one's actually pretty short, too. That was only 26 minutes. I guess I probably could have put them together, but we just kind of wanted to focus on the Paris morgue because it was too interesting. Well, I guess that's it. I guess I need to figure out what... Stop doing that. I'll break your finger.
No, don't break my finger.
I guess I need to figure out what I'm going to do with Seth. I'm trying to decide. I haven't done a true crime one with him, but that's kind of more your thing.
Yeah.
He likes spooky, so I may try to find this is spooky. It's definitely, but I feel like it's more morbid. I think
he likes Sam and Colby.
Yeah, he wants to be scared, so I need to find a good spooky one for him.
You should do the original Exorcist story.
That movie messed me up so much as a kid. I watched that movie way too young. That one and the Blair Witch Project, messed with my psyche when I was younger. Like, the Blair Witch Project was so bad that I remember, like, the beginning of the movie that, you know, they're talking about the witch that would grab the kids at the river and drown them.
Mm-hmm.
For years after I watched that movie, if I would, like, go swimming, I'd be like, she's gonna grab me.
Oh my
She's
God.
gonna grab me and pull me under. And then when I was also younger, if I was swimming, like, my grandparents had a pool and they wouldn't really let me go swimming by myself. They would, like, sit outside the pool and watch me. Or sometimes they, like, would run in to go answer the phone real quick or something, whatever. And I would be swimming in a pool in Oklahoma. And I would think, what if a shark, like, showed up here and ate me?
Spawned. What if a
Spawned
shark
in the
just
pool.
spawned in?
That's got to be like a psyche thing.
It has to be.
Childhood trauma. That's funny. So we should look into that, like childhood psyche, like the weird things that kids would think and would freak them out.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Okay, well, future episode idea.
Maybe.
All right, well, I need to go wash my daughter's clothes for... Oh, no, she don't have pictures now, so she can wear whatever she wants.
Yay.
Yay. I do need to go clean my house and get stuff ready for this week, though, since I'm a single mom this week.
Single mom who works too hard.
Loves her kids, but wants to punch them in the throat. Oh, that's not how it goes. I'm sorry.
Okay, cut the cameras.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Cool, bye.